Hey guys, it's Thorn, and I wanted to make a video before I disappeared for a week to go to Free Spirit Gathering. I've got a couple in the works that I'm going to post at some point, but I'll basically be disappearing from the internet for about a week, and I thought I would leave you with kind of a fun, silly video. This is a tag that's been going around on YouTube for at least the last couple of weeks, longer than that, but I sort of got sucked down a rabbit hole of watching other people's videos, and I thought, what the hell? It's been probably years since I've done a tag video. So we're going to do it. This is Get to Know Your Witches. It's floating around on Instagram too, but here we go. So I'll post the questions down below. Nobody tagged me, but whatever, I do what I want. So number one. Does your zodiac sign portray you correctly? If not, do your other planetary signs? So I don't know a whole lot about astrology. This is probably the biggest hole in my metaphysical education. It's one that I intend to correct this summer, at least to get started doing so. But I know that I am a Taurus with a Capricorn moon and Cancer rising. So I just sort of interpret that to mean that I really like to eat cake, and when I do need to cry, I like to do so in a closet where nobody can see me, which is 100% accurate. I guess, I mean, the way people talk about sun signs is always really generic online, so it's really easy to kind of mash yourself into whatever it is, but the stereotypes about Taurus are that we're slow to anger, we really like sex and money and chocolate and just kind of decadent living, and most of those things are true. Yeah, like, so I guess. It does take a lot to make me mad, but when I do get mad, it's pretty unreasonable. So I'm sorry to anybody who's ever been on the receiving end of that. I could not help it. It was my star sign, I guess. Instead of just like poor socialization. Number two, what songs bring you the most magical vibes? The Craft soundtrack. So that's probably stupid, but I really don't like pagan music. I don't know, like I have a really intense hatred of hand drums. A lot of people don't know that, but I just can't. Like the second the hippie drums come out, I'm just kind of done. So a lot of the kind of conventionally pagan bands I just have never gotten on board with. I mean, you can get swept up in the mood like at a festival or something, but when I'm home and I'm in ritual and I'm just listening to something for the sake of kind of building a magical atmosphere, I rely on those nostalgic sound triggers, which means that, like, for me, that Our Lady Peace cover that opens up the Craft soundtrack just like does it every time. The Practical Magic soundtrack. Yeah, that's my jam. But in ritual Tool, I use a lot of Tool, just because it's really trancy, and each track is usually in like the double digits of minutes. So it's great for ritual. It's not super duper lyric heavy, at least not relative to what's going on musically. So that's really great. Yeah, so musically, that's what I'm up to. Number three, which one of your deities / guides / ancestors is most sarcastic with you? If this doesn't apply to you, which of your tarot / oracle decks is? I don't feel like I have sarcastic spirits in my life, necessarily. I also don't, maybe this is unusual, but I don't anthropomorphize my tarot decks. I've been using the same Rider-Waite deck for like 600 years, and I'm very fond of it, but like if I lost it in a fire, I would just go out and buy another one. So like a fire is the only way I could lose the deck. I'm much more likely to just leave it in my classroom or something. I don't know why fire is what came to mind. Watch my house burn down tonight. Anyway, yeah, I don't feel like this applies to me. There's not a lot of sarcasm in my worship life, which is probably good, because I dole out about as much as I think anyone could handle. at least in the circle. Number 4, biggest witchy mess up or misinterpretation. This is really hard. I mean, I've set a whole lot of things on fire, including my hair, at least once a season. Anybody in Foxfire can tell you that. Thorn burning to death is at the fore of everybody's concerns. But in terms of like most significant mess ups or misinterpretations, probably the one that I don't know, like I don't know that there was any avoiding it. But it is kind of painful to watch other people deal with it. But it's not something that you can really like talk people out of. Is just the hang up about realness and authenticity. It's one thing to sort of be on a quest to figure out who you are and find a tradition that suits you and learn about yourself and explore, like all that stuff is well and good. But for so many of us, the reason we're doing that is because we are sort of crippled by self-doubt and looking for something to fix it. And when I became a member of my tradition and became established in that, like one of the hardest things to deal with was realizing that just because I was an initiated Gardnerian, that wasn't going to make the imposter syndrome just magically go away. You know, I sort of grew up in the 90s and early 2000s with this kind of culture surrounding neo-paganism and Wicca that said that you needed to be in a coven in order to be real, and you needed to be in a particular kind of coven in order to be real, and just et cetera, and realizing as an adult that there's not an end to that. There's always somebody standing around telling you that what you're doing is less authentic than what they're doing, and I wish that it had sunk in earlier that that was bullshit, because I would have saved myself a lot of heartache. So there you go. There's less fire in that, but what have you. Number 4, would you write a book on your craft/spirituality? Why? If you already have, what were your challenges in doing so? So I already have. I released my first book last July, and I'm working on my second and my third right now. I don't think I've said this anywhere, but the real reason I write books is so that when I get emails, I can just be like, too many words, just read one of these. So I want a book for like every reason anybody could possibly email me, just so that I could be like even more introverted than I already am. So give me a few years and I'll just never respond to anybody ever again. You can just visit me at the bookstore or something in book form. The hardest thing about writing traditional Wicca, A Seeker's Guide, was the deep, everywhere sensation that no matter what I wrote, I was going to upset somebody. I knew that there would be people out there who were going to call me an oath breaker without reading the book. Like, I just knew I would automatically be Lady Sheba to people. I knew that there was no way to represent everybody who I was writing about in a way that was going to be satisfactory to everybody. So just, you know you're going to piss somebody off. Like, no matter how careful you are, no matter how much research you do, or how thorough you try to be, you're going to upset somebody. And traditional Wiccan communities have a long-standing and kind of glorious history of being enraged about things. Sometimes really little things. Sometimes not so little things. But I knew I was just going to be on the chopping block somewhere. But I really felt like I had to do it anyway. So dealing with that anxiety was the hardest thing. Number 6, if someone wanted to summon you to their circle, what 5 items would they need? This is good. 5. Okay, well, first of all, clove cigarettes. I don't really smoke, but when I do, it's a clove cigarette, so I can pretend that it's 1996. And yes, they're delicious. Don't smoke, but they're delicious. Stuffed animals. Yep, I want a stuffed animal to go along with my pack of cigarettes. I want really dry red wine like the driest mouth collapsing red wine that you can find. So that's 3. 4 and 5. I don't know, probably just like a pile of blank books would be useful. And post-it notes. Post-it notes. I do all of my writing with post-it notes. So I've got a giant stack of them right here, which is why I think about it. So clove cigarettes, a stuffed animal, blank books, post-it notes, and a 5th thing that I said that I can't remember already. Oh no! And Oliver. If you had Oliver, that would work. Number 7. If you were a ghost, what place would you haunt? I don't know about a specific place, but I would want to haunt somewhere with children. I feel like that would be the best way to get stories circulating quickly and to cause the most panic. So maybe a school or a playground, someplace with kids. Give me your children as a ghost. Number 8. What is the funniest way someone has reacted to finding out you were a witch? So the funniest stories have actually been when I haven't directly told people that I'm a witch. I usually don't do that. I mean, if I'm in an environment where it matters that I'm a witch, okay. But telling somebody at a festival where everybody's a giant weirdo that you're a witch doesn't cause any kind of reaction. And there's no reason for me to tell people in my mundane life that I'm a witch unless, I don't know, they're like being vetted for a group or something. Like, there's no reason for that. But there have been several instances where people have sort of found out, usually by coming into my house for some reason. If you walk into my house, it is 100% obvious that I'm a witch. If you don't know what you're looking at, you at least figure that I'm some kind of satanic something or other. With the wall art and the books and the creepy ritual shit everywhere, like there's just no kind of denying that something weird happens in the space. My favorite are HVAC people. Whenever something breaks or something needs servicing with the air conditioner, there's always like some lone guy, and he's usually like under the age of 25, and you know, they have to be really polite, and especially when they're going to the house of like a single woman, like you can tell that they've just been schooled in like how to not be creepy dudes in somebody's house. So they have to kind of be polite and keep it inside, but you can just see them kind of looking around and getting wide-eyed, and every now and then one of them will say something. That's usually funny. Most recently, I had an incident where I had a cat rescue representative at my house. This was earlier this month. I adopted a second cat, who you will meet at some point. He's actually here at my feet. His name is Marty, and he's giant and orange, and he just was kind of in a desperate situation. So I have a second cat. Oliver is being ornery downstairs, which makes me sad. But anyway, the cat rescue folks came over to kind of scope out my place, and I like hid the ritual knives, okay? But there's nothing else I can hide. Like, it just, my house is what it is. And it became very clear that these were Christians, and she had a young assistant with her, and I had gone into another room to take care of Oliver and to kind of do cat things, and they didn't realize that I was really paying attention to them. And I could see the young man kind of whispering frantically at the woman, and she said something to the effect of, well, if it freaks you out, just stand outside. You don't have to actually be in here. Anyway, I thought that was very funny. So, I don't know. What have you? Let's see. What else? Number 9. Do you have any superstitions? I do. I don't know if they're superstitions, because they're totally real. But, my mom taught me not to kill spiders. I don't know if it was just because she's altruistic or what. But there's a superstition surrounding killing spiders in the home. It's bad luck, and that's something that I mean, I wouldn't kill things anyway if I didn't have to, but spiders in particular, like killing spiders to me just feels really, really wrong. So I'd classify that as a superstition. Like I do. I think it's unlucky to kill spiders. I adhere to a superstition about carrying your old broom to a new house. But that's just like a question of hygiene too. Like you're using some broom for a decade and it's all shitty and gross and you're running it all over your floor. Like why are you putting that in your car and driving to your new house? Like that's not cool. So again, is that a superstition or is that just reasonable? I don't know. And birthday wishes. You have to make a birthday wish on your birthday. There needs to be a fire that you blow out. It doesn't have to be on a cake, but birthday wishes are important to me. So those are my superstitions. Number 10. If you could possess any fantasy magic, what would your power be? So, I'd like to be able to breathe underwater. Part of that is because probably like aside from like my phobia of heights, like my biggest fear after that is of drowning. Like that's just, I cannot imagine a worse way to die than by drowning. And if I could breathe underwater, I would never have to think about that again. Also just think that would be really cool. I've been swimming too far out into the ocean since I was a little kid while at the beach. And again, if I could not die while doing that, that would be excellent. Invisibility would be pretty awesome. It would really help my introversion, but yeah, one of those. Number 11, what is something random on your altar? I have a teeny tiny ceramic figure of Lady from the Disney Lady and the Tramp. I was about to say the Disney version. Is there another version of Lady and the Tramp? No, Moni? Okay. I have a teeny tiny figure of Lady from Lady and the Tramp that Lore gave to me, one of my initiates, when I initiated them, because in my particular tradition, high priestesses earn the title of lady when they have initiates. So I became Lady Thorn, which still kind of makes me like cringe a little bit inside and like makes me really super duper uncomfortable. Not all Gardnerians do that, so it's not like a universal thing, but it's something that our family does. So when you have initiates, you're entitled to be called Lady. And anyway, so it was my Lady gift. I got Lady. She's a ceramic dog, so she's on my altar. She's very little. Number 12. If one of the YouTubers you watched was a genie and they could grant you 3 wishes within their power, who would it be and what wishes? I don't know. I don't know what I could possibly wish for that other YouTubers could give me. I'd probably get together with Keldon and I would wish that our friend Veles could be transported to the Carolinas or to New York or wherever we are so that we could hang out, because we've been internet friends for a long time and he's super rad. That's probably boring for the rest of you, but yeah, that would be a wish. What else? Kellyanne Maddox took a train to see me when I was in London, and she's sort of like a genie. So that was some wish granting. Does that count? I don't know. And then a third one, I don't know, like, I wish I was like half as cool as Avalon Cameron, so that's, yeah, I'm sorry, this is terrible. I don't know. Genies. Or witches. Why are we asking genies for wishes? Number 13. If you could instantly become an expert in any part of your craft / spirituality, what would it be? Probably astrology, because people ask astrology questions and I never know. That would be great. That would be useful if I knew something about astrology. Number 14. When you die, what do you think will happen to your soul? I don't think very much about this. I don't have a lot of investment in what happens after death. I think that the concept of a soul gets like super like nebulous and weird. I'm not really sure what that is all the time. I don't think that my consciousness will survive. I don't think that Thorn Mooney will be out there like in the world, like in some capacity where she can be summoned to do Thorn Mooney things, even with clove cigarettes and stuffed animals. But I do think that some kind of divine essence, like, I don't know, like returns to the Godhead or whatever. Like there's something that's really beautiful about that concept. I really don't buy the idea of an afterlife. The kind of conventional ideas about Summerlands don't really jive with me, just because, I don't know, like, you've already spent an entire lifetime sort of being trapped in this body with this brain. Like, why would you want to continue that into the afterlife? I guess if you had some kind of like idyllic relationship with yourself. But I don't know, like being trapped with myself for eternity sounds kind of terrible. So I hope that I dissipate and become something else so that I can give myself a break. So there you are. I think that was all of them. Oh shit, no. Number 15, where do you see yourself spiritually in the next 5 years? Well, I will have released 2 more books by that point, so hopefully I'll be answering fewer emails, because I'll just say things like, you should refer to this book, and that will answer the question that you've asked. I don't know. I expect that I'll still be running a coven, and I'll probably have different people, and I don't know. My working partner and I are exploring the Golden Dawn right now, and we're working through the Israel Regardie text together, so maybe I'll be a badass, like, Golden Dawn ceremonial magician, and I'll have like cool Egyptian hats and robes or something. Check with me in 5 years. I don't know. Probably have more cats. So yeah. All right, guys. If you need to get a hold of me, hit me up on Instagram or Twitter in the next week. I won't be on YouTube very much, but I hope you all are well, and I'll show you Marty at some point. I can't just like lift him. I don't know. He's like 600 pounds, so I can't just like lug him around and introduce you to him, but I will. Anyway, I'll be in touch. You guys are good.